Hey folks, so I'm back, so thank you very much. I already got some responses to the video that I posted like 30 seconds ago, and I'll also say that because I only posted it 30 seconds ago, there are no dislikes. Haha, screw you motherfuckers who always click dislike. But anyway, so let's just have a quick look at these questions. I'm gonna have to put my glasses on to see this. So, we've got melee weaponry in Poland during the 1500s. Jesus! Yeah, I've got all of that information in my head. No. Melee weapons in Poland during the 1500s. Sabres obviously starting to be really super popular at that time. Lances and other things. I'm not going to do a talk about that because I don't know enough about it, unfortunately. Next question. Can a katana cut through a bullet shot from a Spandau? Yeah, of course. Next question. Penetration in general. Essentially, I love penetration, and the deeper the better. Next question. What about a video about fighting with gauntlet fists, like in MMOs, and like a fist fighter, but their arms are armoured? This is the best question. This is the best one ever. Their arms are armoured, and how would that stack up against swords and axes and the like we see in videos? Right, I might come back to that. Landsknecht, I can never say that word properly. Landsknecht? Landsknecht. The Germans, I'm sure, will correct everything about my pronunciation. Landsknecht warfare. Again, it's not something I know a huge amount about. It's not something I can just reel off information about. Landsknechts essentially were mercenaries. The thing is, what to say about it? They were professional soldiers, and they had many different troop types. They had people operating firearms, people with pikes, people with halberds, people with two-handed swords, famously. They had characteristic styles of dress, Katzbalga swords, even characteristic daggers, even specific types of two-handed swords which are associated with their Landsknechts. I don't know an awful lot about them other than to say they were professional soldiers, which in the 16th century was a relatively rare thing. But I can't make a video about Landsknecht warfare without doing some research about it. I don't know everything, guys. Poleaxe versus halberd. That's interesting. So I've done a video about what's the difference between a poleaxe and a halberd. It's to do with the construction. In one sense, some people would say it's to do with the way that the head is put together and constructed. Other people would say it's to do with the size. Other people would say it's to do with the way that it's used, which is connected with the size. Essentially, I would say, in short, a poleaxe is like a short halberd, or a halberd is like a long poleaxe, depending how you look at it. Halberds are, generally speaking, designed to be used by a unit of people as pole weapons, like you would have pikemen or spearmen or whatever you have halberdiers or billmen, whereas poleaxes are more individual weapons and really specialised for armoured fighting. That's all I'll say about that topic for now. In terms of one against the other, well, without armour, clearly the halberd's got an advantage because it's longer, okay? Having said that, if someone was really good at closing and really skillful, yes, you could fight someone with a poleaxe, using a poleaxe if they had a halberd. But generally speaking, the poleaxe is supposed to be used by someone wearing full armour. That's why it's shorter. Right, let's go to the other two questions. So, the question that I skipped over, oh, there's also flamberges. Okay, I have talked a little bit about flamberges, wavy bladed swords. I'm going to save that for a big video in the future because there's a lot to be said about that. If Metatron doesn't get there first. He keeps stealing my topics, man. No, I don't mind. But I'm sure we can both say different things about it. But let's see. Or Scalagram. He always steals my topics as well. He even, no, anyway. Let's have a look. So, right, so let's go with, I like it because it's wacky. So, someone using gauntleted fists, fighting against people who had swords and axes in the like. How would it work? Would it work? Well, basically, yeah, actually. So if you're fully armoured, so let's assume you've got a fully armoured person with gauntlets, and your opponent is an unarmoured person with a sword. Can you fight them? Yeah, hell yeah. The armour is a weapon, and absolutely you could close them down and grapple the effing hell out of them, beat their brains out with your steel fists. Absolutely, yeah. Armour makes you, it sounds trite, it sounds stupid, but armour makes you a bit like a superhero. In a context where your opponents are not armoured, you're like you're a freaking Iron Man, okay, or Batman. You are you are really, really hardcore. And essentially, unarmoured people, if they want to take you down, whether they've got weapons or not, they've essentially got to batter the hell out of you with really usually long or heavy weapons, or they've got to get in really, really close and stab you in gaps or pull you to the ground and overbear you, maybe with numerous, weight of numbers or whatever. So absolutely, if you had like 10 peasants versus one knight, then, assuming the knight's fully armoured, then yeah, absolutely, those 10 peasants, whatever they're armed with, could take down that one knight, just simply all by jumping on him. And if you're doing RPGs, or if you're looking to make a more realistic computer game or whatever, yeah, absolutely, one armoured knight could, if he had a sword or a poleaxe or a glaive or something like this, could absolutely maybe keep 10 peasants at bay for a bit. But if they've got the balls or the guts to really close that person down, then the knight's really screwed. Because if 10 people with their combined weight and strength jump on one armoured person, then that armoured person, just what are they going to do? They're just going to go to the ground, aren't they? And they're going to get taken apart. So absolutely, but one-on-one, the armoured person just has so many advantages. And actually, as I hope I've kind of portrayed in previous videos, if you've got armour, it makes a lot of weapons kind of irrelevant. Imagine a 1796 light cavalry sabre. If that's a person's weapon and you step up in full 15th century plate armour, what are they going to do to you? They can't cut you, they can't thrust through the gaps with the tip of, with that shape of blade and with that shape of tip, and it's not going to get through the mail in the gaps anyway. Literally, a person with, I'm just using a random example, but a person with a 1796 light cavalry sabre against an unarmed armoured man, so someone in full plate but with no weapon, what can they do really? At that point they're just going to have to resort to grappling. And oh yeah, they could unscrew their pommel and throw it. No, you can't, because you can't unscrew the pommel off of 1796. But no, essentially what are they going to do? So fighting people against armour is really freaking hard. And absolutely, if you lost your weapon but you're still in armour and you've got opponents, absolutely you could batter the effing bejesus out of them with your fists. Yes, they would do reasonably well, unless your opponents were numerous and then could just jump on you and pull you to the ground. There we go, so I answered the first interesting, semi-serious question that came under the videos. Thanks a lot for your contributions, and hopefully this was moderately interesting and you enjoyed looking at the back of my head while I read things off a computer screen. Weirdest video ever. Cheers folks.